Welcome back to my video series about top 5s in different categories in 9th Age. This time we'll be discussing the large infantry choices. In my previous video it was commented also that I focused a lot on glass cannon units. I think these are really good generally, but also for special infantry. This is one of the things that they bring that core infantry doesn't really, so I think that's also a big reason why that video focused a bit more on glass cannon type units. This time it's going to be a bit more general, so there's a bit of a mix and match of hard-hitting units, of tough units, of all kinds of different stuff. So join me for this video and you'll see what my top 5 is at least. If you have your own top 5 or you don't agree, please comment in the comments below, because it makes for some interesting discussions. For now, let's just get into it with the number 5 pick. This is going to be the Vampire Spawn of the Vampire Covenant book. This is one of these glass cannon type units, but it's in the number 5 spot, so maybe in the other spots we'll see some other type units. Why Vampire Spawn? I think also in Vampire Covenant they bring something to the table that some other choices don't really. By being highly mobile, by being autonomous, and having quite a decent damage output. Vampire Covenant army is mostly focused on the grind, but these Vampire Spawn, they really dish out some damage, especially if you combine it with some magic that can boost him even further. So they do have built-in battle focus. If you give him reroll to hit through, for example, Ancestral 8, then you're gonna look at a conversion of attacks to hits, about 1-to-1 ratio. And well, obviously you have Stomp, but all of these large infantry are going to have that. You have Strength 5, AP 2, and Offensive 4, which is, I believe, just enough to really put you on a higher level. Because with Offensive 4 you do manage to hit some targets on 3+. With Strength 5, AP2 gets you a lot of places, and Agility 4 also means that as a large infantry model you still manage to strike first in a lot of times. The defensive and resilience is quite poor indeed. However, a large unit of this, I mean, you're only paying 80 points per extra model, which is kind of in line with other large infantry models. So it's not really that expensive even for what you get. Then for my number 4 pick, this is going to be one of my personal favorites. It's going to be the Ratchet ones. Ratchet ones, they have been described as really beginner friendly, and there's one particular army that you can build with Warriors of the Dark Gods that just focuses on Wretched ones and Forsaken ones. And I have been told that this is also sometimes referred to as the girlfriend army, because you can just give it to your girlfriend and she rolls some dice and it still just kills stuff whenever. You don't really have to do a lot with this army. So why Ratchet ones then? Well, they are unbreakable, so that already really helps. They have defensive 2, resilience 4, which is amongst the poorest of large infantry, but they do make it up for with a fortitude of 5+. So they are not that tough, but it's okay if you can make use of the fortitude. Offensively, they have grind attacks, so they don't need any offensive stat, because they just do d6 plus 1 hits per model at strength 4. However, they only have AP 0, so that's going to be a bit of a struggle. And they have irredeemable, so they cannot make any stomp attacks, which is fine, because the damage output is already high enough. And they can also make grind attacks across models in the first rank. And in addition, the last rule that comes into factor with irredeemable is that when it's killed by a melee attack, you only remove it at the end of initiative step 0. And this part of the rule makes it so that I consider these guys really good at clearing chaff in your backline. So I usually run them as just 2 single Ratchet ones. You can also run them in big units, but then you need some kind of magic support to either give them lethal strike for extra AP, some other method of getting extra AP, or you can just go for a reroll to wound spell to really put on the hurt on your opponent. Ideally, you get reroll to wound and lethal strike from avocation. Yeah, so that is basically the sum up of this unit. They do have random move of 3d6. So what I found out through playing with them is, well, if you buy them as just a single model, they are 75 points each, which is nothing at all. They still have 3 HP at resilience 4, so just one fireball is not going to cut it to remove him, likely. And then, yeah, you still have this model that can advance anywhere, any direction, 3d6 inches, and anything it touches is going to get d6 plus 1 strength 4 hits, irrespective of their agility, because you only remove it as a casualty at the end of initiative step 0. So in that sense, it's a really great tool in the Warriors of the Dark Gods army for just keeping it in your backlines, and then whenever there's something that wants to chaff you up in some way, you can just sacrifice a Ratchet one, and then, well, likely you're gonna, it's quite likely that you will still just remove the chaff of your opponent, and maybe you'll even have a Ratchet one left standing, be it on 1 HP, potentially. However, if your opponent charges in, he's still going to get these d6 plus 1 strength 4 attacks. And for chaff, just d6 plus 1 grind attacks is already quite threatening. It's not going to completely kill them off, probably. However, if they don't even manage to kill one in one round, then they're going to get another d6 plus 1 grind attacks over them. And that is... they are amazing pieces. Also, to just run up a flank and flank any type of unit, basically, that is not completely geared towards close combat, and they're not going to be able to remove it in one turn. You're going to be unbreakable, so you don't have to worry at all about breaking away from combat. They're just really versatile pieces if you run a single one of them. I haven't run personally the 6 model units, but I mean, if you count out 6d6 plus 6 hits on a Elven unit or any other unit with resilience 3, that's really gonna hurt a lot. And sure, they only have defensive 2, they only have resilience 4, fortitude 5 up. However, if you're going for the grind, then this is really a good unit. For the next pick in the list, we're gonna go back to the Orcs and Goblins book for the Trolls. So Trolls, they are cheap, they are hitty, they are tough, they are everything that you want basically in a large infantry unit. They have access to Swift Stride through the Warcry. They are really cheap at 60 points per model. If you upgrade them to Cave Trolls, they're going to be 73 points per model, which is a bit more expensive, however, still not as expensive as Ratchet ones, as Vampire Spawn, and as some other choices in other books. The only real difference or difficulty that you run into with Trolls is that they are stupid and that they're also not scoring. So that is a bit of an issue with them. However, for the points that you pay for them, you get a defensive stat that is really incredible with the armor 3 on the Cave Troll, the fortitude 4 up. You only have defensive 3 and resilience 4. I say only, but it's still decent. You could also go for Bridge Troll. I don't see Bridge Trolls that often, to be honest, because also the magic resistance 3 that you get from the Cave Trolls means that they don't get targeted that much by magic, which is also a big boon. Yeah, the only real downside of Trolls is that you just have to keep them close to your general, or to put a character in there that can deal with their discipline because of the stupid rule. So the stupid rule says basically that whenever you leave them out of your bubble or out of character support range, you are not going to do anything with them. Then there's still one rule that I didn't mention so far, which is the Troll Belch rule. This is a rule where basically your trolls are going to puke over the opponent. And that means that every model in the unit that is able to attack an opposing unit can also choose to attack with the Troll Belch, which inflicts 1 strength 5 AP 10 hit, or AP 10 hit on the opponent. This is really good against either targets that are really well armored to just increase your AP to AP 10, or against targets that have a really high defensive stat because it's just a guaranteed hit. So yeah, I've seen it used quite a lot of times against cavalry, against characters that are otherwise unable to get hit. It's a really good good part of the trolls. For the number 2 pick, in my view, we're going to go over to the Ogre Khan book, and we're going to go for the Bruisers, which are, in my opinion, the best ogres that are in the book. So these guys, they do have scoring, unlike the trolls. They do have champion, musician, and standard bearer upgrade possibilities. What else do they give you? Well, they basically give you just an average offensive and defensive stats. They have heavy armor, and that's it. So that is not that impressive so far. However, you do have the Ogre Khan special rules, and you have a great weapon. So the great weapon gets you to strength 6 in core, which is quite decent. You are still kind of cheapish at 75 points per model, and they always seem to perform well. Whether you run them in 3 model darts, where you put them one wide and you just try to make the most out of them to get some strength 6 somewhere on the board, or you can just run them in big units and get this the juicy support attacks at strength 6. Compared to tribesmen, they are a little bit more expensive. However, just the difference between striking at strength 4 or strength 6 to me is quite a big difference. And at agility 2, you're going to strike last anyway. So I don't know if Ogre Khan players really disagree with me on this one. The reason that I preferred Bruisers in this list over mercenary veterans or Yetis or any other of the non-core infantry in there is because of the non-core aspect of these choices. So I think this is one of the choices that you still always end up with choosing, and that they're really good value for money. So the Sons of the Avalanche special rule still gives you impact hits on your models. On large infantry that doesn't have swift stride, it's not too big of a boon, I feel. I don't know if Ogre players can tell me something else here that I don't know. However, I do know that you can get swift stride on one of your units in the Ogre Khan book. So yeah, that even makes them a little bit better. And for the best of the best, I'm still gonna go for a bit of a glass cannon choice. However, these guys have got going everything for them, in my opinion. This is gonna be the Minotaurs of the Beast Herds. So I think these guys are amazing. The only trouble is that they have Frenzy, which can get you in difficult places at some times. However, you can field 5 units in your army, up to 10 models per unit. Can you field 50 Minotaurs in one game? That would be awesome. Yeah, so Minotaurs, why are they good? Well, they don't have swift stride, so that would be one of the benefits, you would guess. However, what they do have is not even the defensive profile. The defensive profile is also kind of mediocre. They do have 3 attacks, well, that's kind of standard. Offensive 4, which is decent, not too impressive. Strength 5, which is fine. AP 2, which is fine. Agility 3, which is fine. So far it's not really going anywhere. However, they do have Battle Focus and Primal Instinct. They do have impact hits, just like the Ogres. But the combination of Battle Focus and Primal Instinct, with Primal Instinct you make a Discipline test, and if you pass it, you get reroll fail to hit rolls. So that in combination with Battle Focus means practically that you're going to end up with nearly as much hits as you have attacks. And then you can still upgrade the unit through magic, so you can get Totem Bearers in all of the Minotaur units that you have to give them. I believe they're bound spells for different effects. One of the effects would be the Black Wing Totem, and that one gives you extra movement for your impact hits and also extra agility, so you can really strike first and make use of your offensive profile rather than your defensive one. If you're playing big units, I don't think it matters too much, probably. However, yeah, there's still also the option of going for some weapon choices. You can go for a shield. A shield is kind of interesting because it gives you parry. The extra armor save is not that important, but yeah, the parry, 12 points per model. If you play smaller units, then maybe it's interesting. If you play really big units, then you should go for something else. A great weapon could be really awesome if you play probably 10 model units. If you play a 10 model unit though, then it's going to be like 700 points or so. So yeah, if you play a big unit of these guys, I would just put on the great weapons, benefit from your strength 7 attacks now with battle focus, with primal instinct, and really go to town. You can also go for paired weapons. Paired weapons is also interesting because it gives you an extra offensive. So you go to offensive 5, which is pretty impressive, and you ignore parry. However, infantry is not really the problem of these guys, and normally infantry is the one thing that has parry. So I don't really know if paired weapons is really a good idea on Minotaurs. I think it's out of all of the options, it's going to be the worst, probably because you already have primal instinct and battle focus. So the couple of extra attacks, they're going to be 3 extra hits or so, and that's going to be it, because you already have a guarantee of hitting your enemy with the attacks that you have, more or less. Yeah, so all in all, this is a really bashy unit. It can kill anything that it wants until it runs out of bodies. So the big units are definitely really good here. However, if you play it MSU style, it can also really work probably, because even one Minotaur with a great weapon is already pretty impressive. As long as you don't get them down, they're a problem, but if you do get them down, they fall rather easily. Well, that's going to be it for me. Let me know if you agreed with my list and whether I missed some very important choices in your opinion. Also, let me know if you agree with my choice on the Ogre Count Bruisers, or if you have some specific reasons why some other type of Ogre is way better than the Bruisers. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you the next time.